Yeah. Oh shit, that'll I'll never get old.
We won't get used to this. We will not get used to this. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Shit penetrated my brain.
Oh hell yeah. It's like hmm. So,
My shirt smells like Chinese food.
but like why?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
You think you're just out there in the fucking laundromat washing your clothes with soy sauce?
Dude, no, it smells like I don't know, man. No, you know what smells like? A Chinese restaurant. Does that
So,
make sense?
like a decent smell? Like very
No.
meaty? Oh, oh.
No, not quite.
Not decent. All right, understood.
Good, not great. I'll give it that.
Let's see here. I need to check something on my computer real quick.
Mm-hmm. And our man Craig is listening to us and writing shit down, right? Taking notes.
Craig probably low-key works for the CIA.
Good. That's what we're paying for.
Webtoon. All right, let me see the 4.8 on Crunchyroll. Jeez. Okay. What are we talking about today?
Communism.
Communism. Yeah. Where's my anime list? Wait.
MyAnimeList.com.
Oh, so the webcomic is from 2010? What?
Damn.
It's that old?
I heard it was pretty fucking old. It's Korean, right?
Yeah, apparently. South Korean. Why'd they pick up a 10-year-old? Why'd they pick up a 10-year-old webcomic now?
Dude, nothing to lose.
Interesting. Okay, well, I don't care about any of this. We're going to be talking about Tower of God.
Yeah.
And since it's like, I guess the proper thing to do, I guess we should say spoilers are involved, but like, who hasn't watched it by this point, right?
If anyone's watching this video, they've seen it, right? Like,
yeah, I would
there's
hope
spoilers.
so.
Yeah.
That would be like if you were, well, actually, no, I'm guilty of this. Watching reviews for shit that you haven't actually watched yet. I do that all the time.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fine,
know why.
But this is going to be like a pretty lengthy review. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
If you're watching this video, you're also probably going to be disappointed by our take.
Like, when I watched through it that first time, I like arbitrarily gave it an 8 out of 10 and then pretty much left it at that.
But
I had some serious issues when I first watched it, and then I let that simmer and I asked you to watch it. And since it's simmered, that 8 out of 10 is looking a bit too high now.
It's one of those things where it's like there's those little problems with it and you know they're there, but then the longer you let it sit, the more you're like, all right, these aren't little problems. These are fundamentally like just issues with the writing, with everything, man. It's like,
yeah. And the thing is, like, they are little problems at first, but they only become bigger problems because they're given time to, grow into bigger problems. Yeah, they just
it's like in a fucking infection. They just grow.
Are you okay, Left Eye? I'm so concerned for my cat. She's so old. Anyway,
rest in peace, Left Eye.
No, but it's like, and some of the biggest problems I had were just like the show. And also, I guess I'll also preface that we're talking about the show itself, just what we're given. We know nothing about the webcomic, nor do we care to look into it.
Fuck the source material. We don't care. We're reviewing the anime, not chapter whatever of the manga or the manhwa.
We're just looking at the anime season 1 only. Fuck all the other like if there's a season 2, I don't really care. We're just looking at what we have in front of us right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important to say because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are gonna say, it'll get better, and answers will come later.
I'll save them the trouble. Yeah, we know it'll get better in season 2 and 3 and 4, but we're reviewing season 1 and how they fucked it up. and what they did
because
right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but the whole thing is, if they don't do parts of season one right, I mean, like if they don't keep your audience's attention, what's gonna make you want to, get those answers in season two later on?
Yeah, because I'll just be straight. Nothing really wants me to, or nothing's pressing me to come back to season two. Like I will because of masochism, but I don't really care anymore. You know?
So, do you want to go? I was thinking, do you want to go? Like, we don't have to talk about each one for like literal hours or any real length of time, but you just want to go like episode by episode, so we could just like pick it apart a bit.
Yeah, if you just
Like,
remind me a bit of what happened in each episode.
I can pull up a quick episode synopsis, but I mean, episode one, we see Bam, Bomb, whatever his name is, I really don't care. And
Yeah.
Rachel chasing each other. Then Rachel goes to the tower, and then Bomb, he meets head ass for the first time.
Right.
And then he meets and he meets Yuri and Yuri's navigator, that poor fuck that doesn't have a name.
Yeah, because they don't care about him. Clearly, they added like a million characters, none with personality or backstory. They're just there.
Yeah, and he did the steel ball and eel test. I think that
Oh,
was the entire first episode.
right. Okay, so that's the thing. That was my problem. Is that we learn about five characters there mostly, right? White haired dude, Yuri, Head On, Rachel, and Bam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the show, I know nothing about any of them except Yuri's a princess and Bam is special, and Rachel's a bitch. Like in episode one, I got really invested in all of them, like or I tried to, and then that was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those three. How I really thought Head On that Bunny Man was going to be around a lot.
I kind of had that vibe too. I mean, I wasn't too disappointed. Oh, I wouldn't say disappointed is the right word for it, but I wasn't too surprised that he wasn't after a while. But like,
Yeah, I
he
get it.
definitely is important because later on, I'm already jumping the gun, but later on, other characters refer to him as like a god.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. This whole show, they do so much setting up for and exposition and like setting up for what's to come, but that's what it seems like all of season one. By the end of it, it was just this whole thing is exposition.
Kind
Like
of.
it seems
Well,
like every episode is them setting up for something to come, but it
but
never
let's
does.
reel it back real quick because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
already know because
yeah.
from our last conversation about this, we're just gonna blow the fuck up at some point.
Yeah, I'm almost there already.
Yeah, honestly. But all right, first episode, I think both you and I agree that we immediately did not like Bomb.
Well, how the fuck? What is there to like? Like,
And
what is there to like? Everyone
there's a
else likes him.
there's a huge first of all, he's a Gary Stew. I don't want to hear it. Anyone that says otherwise is just wrong.
Yeah, he's poster child for generic male protagonist
And
in an anime. He that is him. It's his fucking face in the dictionary when you look it up.
I'm so sick and tired, and it happens way too much. And don't get me wrong, some shows do it really well. Like I was just telling you about earlier, I think that show I watched, Angels of Death, did the whole protagonist with amnesia thing really well.
Yeah,
But
it's been done well, plenty. You know.
but it's been done so fucking much. It's so hard to like, I guess suspend disbelief or like to just be willing to deal with protagonists
Yeah,
having amnesia nowadays.
yeah.
It's like it's so overblown. It's such a big trope where the
Cause
protagonist doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
I know we can both handle a few tropes. Like we've sat through enough to know like when it's coming, and it's like okay, whatever. Let's see where they're going with it. But
Yeah.
no one who, even if you love this show, which I genuinely can see people liking it, but you can't fucking look me in the eye and say that he's a character with rounded personality and motivations and
No,
characterization.
he's flat. He's as 2D as the fucking image you
Bro,
see of him online.
he's a cardboard cutout with a smiley face who everyone fucking loves to death. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone in the show. I can't
Yeah,
imagine anyone watching it really
there's
liking him.
not a single person that doesn't like him
Yeah,
besides you
it's
know,
it's the same as
well,
that fucker from Sword Art Online. He's just a fucking cardboard cutout for whoever's watching it to like put themselves in their shoes. Like, and you can do that well, but they do it so bad here.
now the one thing they do well, and I mean, I don't see they do it well, but I also don't see how they couldn't have done it well in this case, is using Bomb as a way to like introduce the viewers to the world.
Yeah,
because
because
we're supposed to be seeing through his perspective, and he has no idea what's going on. But what you very quickly understand is Bomb doesn't know what's going on. It also doesn't seem like the show itself knows what's going on. So it's
no,
like you'd think you'd be learning about things as you go. Because I mean, the best example I think that everyone can relate to is Luke Skywalker, fucking Star Wars. It's like, he learns
that's a
about
good one.
all this bigger galaxy and all this shit happening around him, and
Yeah.
you as the viewer learn about it with him.
Oh, that's a good example because here's the fucking big difference. Luke really wants to know about the Jedi. He asks, Ben. He's like, "Hey, what is this whole magical world with?" Because the viewer wants to know too. But we're watching fucking Tower of God. Like, what is the tower? What's all this? Bam's like, I don't care. I'm a simp through and through. I'm a find Rachel, and we're like, oh, we don't really care about her. We want to know what's going on.
Yeah, and there's no character like, Obi-Wan that
No,
kind of serves as this old wise guide or anything. And I'm not saying that the show needed it, but there
just
are people in the show that know what's going on and they provide zero answers at any point.
yeah, because it's like because whoever wrote the show or directed this show, we don't care about the original series. Whoever directed this does not give a fuck about the world. Clearly, because we don't learn anything about it. Just bits and pieces, like second long expedition from characters,
And if they do care, then but they wanted to hold it off to the next season,
and they
dumb idea.
fucked up. Yeah,
Stupid idea.
because what is there for next season? Everything. There's no more like holes to be. I mean, all we have are a bunch of like missing like blanks to fill in. It's not like we're gonna learn more. We haven't learned fucking anything.
All right, I guess I'll just arbitrarily move on whenever we have a
Yeah,
pause. Episode 2, that's the battle royale episode. That's where we're introduced to pretty much everyone except for Endorsi and Rachel.
right,
Um,
right, and yeah, no, that's it. But we're introduced to them, like we see them briefly, which is
yeah, we
fine.
at least get to see a knock, we see Hot Shibisu. I think the chick's name is Serena. We see the one-horned dude. I don't know his name. We
Mm-mm.
meet, most importantly, because he's arguably the best character in the show, we meet Kun.
Yeah,
And is it that episode or the next one? I don't remember if it's
the next one's with
this
the wall,
episode.
right? Or is that
I
one?
don't remember if it's this one or not, but I think it might be this one that you meet Liroro with the wall
Yeah,
and all
no,
that
that
shit.
that is episode 2.
I mean, we could skip over the whole battle royale
Yeah.
thing because it's a very, very short sequence.
Well, you know what I loved about the battle royale that they just dropped is fucking Anak and her intense fight with what's his name.
With Hots.
Yeah, and then that was set up to be so fucking cool, and then dropped it.
Yeah, we see
Dead
like
weight.
we see the beginning strokes of the fight, and it looks like it's gonna be really interesting, and then we don't see the rest. It goes right back to boring ass Bam, and Kun making fun of him for like not being able to hold his sword.
Yeah.
Which the sword, the fucking Black March. They introduced it in episode 1. Yuri, who's this super powerful, super important character to the tower, fucking just decides
Yeah.
to give him the Black March.
And she's like, "You're handsome. I like you. Take my sword." Why?
For no reason. And then the sword, which apparently doesn't like
Thinks he's
women,
handsome.
is like, oh, I'll give you my power briefly. For what reason?
Because he's the fucking chosen one, and everyone loves him, and he's gonna succeed no matter what. He doesn't have to try. He literally just wakes up and everything is handed to him, and he just knows how to kill the very difficult opponent. I mean, dude, it's
Yeah, he just knew the answer to the test, which like,
and they're
all
like,
right,
"How'd you know? You're such an actor." He's like, "I don't care about all that. I'm gonna find
I just need to
Rachel."
find Rachel.
Oh my yeah, no, dude. Every time he would just be speaking for long periods of time, like my head would start rocking back and forth, like it's being, like there's lead inside my fucking ears. Like I can't listen to this. Oh my god! Like I'm literally like trying to keep my head up, like I'm in class at 7 a.m. Like
Like
fuck me.
the next egregious mistake the show made, again, so, like focused on Bomb, was with the Shinsu wall test, where Liroro
What the
says,
fuck?
"You know what? There's too many of you. Whoever doesn't make it past this wall fails." Throws up the wall, and this this motherfucker Bomb is like, "It didn't push me back, but I can go back if you want."
Yeah, literally, just like he's so fucking humble. And any other character in that show, because I'm watching it. If I was them, anyone else, they would have been like, "Yes, I made it. Fuck all y'all. You suck. I'm fucking great. I'm here. Yeah. I don't have to do the fucking test." And we'll be celebrating. But he's so fucking innocent and special and pure. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go
No,
back.
he's
That's
none of
not
those things.
fair."
He's stupid. He's
He's
literally
stupid as
so
shit.
fucking dumb. He doesn't understand the magnitude of what just happened.
He's a straight
Because
up mouth breather.
in world, there should be zero reason, and we know he's an irregular. No one else knows that yet, but it doesn't
Right.
matter.
No
In
one
world,
cares.
because we don't know as viewers what irregulars are, and they never explain exactly what irregulars are.
I
Even in that
think
episode
the most we
where
get is that irregulars come from outside the tower, whatever the fuck that even means.
the most we get is that, and that's from Lero
Yeah.
telling Bomb in that same episode when Bomb asks, "What's an irregular? Are they bad people? Whatever, whatever." And they kind of give you a little bit, and they hint that there's another irregular somewhere in the tower that's been causing trouble because irregulars are just weirdly powerful. But
Yeah.
at that point, what really bothered me is the fact that this this kid asks Lero what irregulars are, right?
Yeah.
He's the only one that didn't get pushed back. There are other clearly powerful characters in that room
Yeah.
that once they took the test, they walked through the wall with zero problem. So first of all, I want to know if the wall wasn't thick enough for them to like show any resistance when they walk through, like a knock, for instance. Why did
Yeah.
it push them back in the first place?
Yeah.
And
Exactly. How does it
second,
work?
yeah, if Bomb didn't get pushed back, then how come Liroro or some of the other people there that saw that didn't immediately think, wait, there's something off about this
It's
kid.
just because
He can't
there's
be irregular.
everything involving Bam is a plot convenience or contrivance. Like nothing in the world really makes sense when it's involving him. Like the whole fucking universe will bend over for him, for whatever like has to push him towards the end. You know what I mean? Like they
It's
don't
like,
follow
yeah,
their own
like
rules.
weird things happen around him, and people's reactions to it are either non existent or mundane at best.
Yeah, or he does something and everyone's just in awe. Like, whoa, he's
I
so strong. Like, really?
Well, before we spiral too much into Bomb, I guess we could
Yeah,
talk about Kun because he got introduced in
yeah,
that episode too. And
yeah. And
I
he's
wouldn't say,
interesting. He's the most
yeah,
interesting. He doesn't have good backstory, but that's fine. He's better than anyone else. And
he's at
he's
least given backstory. They show in his character that whatever's happened to him, it has deeply
yeah,
affected the way he, reacts to things as a person. And the next episode, actually, in
the
episode
backstory
3,
with the
with the
clock. Yeah,
door, yeah, you could see all that come to fruition where he's panicking
yeah,
trying to figure out the answer. And the test director is like, because of what happened to you, you need to be certain of everything. You're kind of fucked up. You need to calm down a
exactly.
little bit. It's like
Oh,
we're given a little bit
dude.
of backstory for him, and then that backstory is expressed through his actions.
Yeah,
So
it's like
he's done decently.
we're complaining about tropes and like how like people are like stereotypical anime, whatever. Like they have their archetypes. We're not even asking for much. Kun is a total fucking like cool guy stereotype, but they give him backstory and they make him interesting, so we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no,
Just
it's
give
good
us
enough.
something. Throw us
They
a
gave
bone.
some characterization to him, so it was enough.
Yeah, like but that's it. They didn't try for like anybody else. In Dorsey,
It's
Anak, I think they did their best for those two, and I think they're like we'll talk more about it later. But I think their whole little subplot is the best part of the show. But outside of those three, I genuinely can't think of any other character.
and the funny thing is, if you take Kuhn's stereotype and compare him to like I don't know any other cool guy like that kind of
Yeah,
rough
well, he's so much
backstory,
more likable because he's
but if you
charisma a bit.
compare him to like another character of that same type in a different series, I mean,
Yeah,
like he's not going to stand up. Kun isn't a
no.
character that's so strong that you can like pit his characterization against another character from another anime. I'm trying to think of another series off the top of my head, but I'm blanking right now.
From Bleach, dude with the glasses. I don't remember his name. The Quincy.
Oh, Uryu. Yeah.
It's just the same thing, but Udio has way more backstory because they actually gave a shit. This dude, what's his fucking Kun? But that's the thing. He towers above everyone else in the show just because they gave him fucking something to like grab onto as a character.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because Kun's the best character, not it's not just because, you know, he was given some attention. It's because
Yeah.
that everyone else is significantly worse.
Exactly. That like he's basically the best by default. Like I think Anak, I think they give her more backstory. I think she's my favorite, just because like she has. That's the thing. I was thinking about it. She's the only one there that I could think of with motivation really for climbing the tower.
Yeah, she has the clearest, most cut and dry goal for why she
Yeah,
wants to climb the tower.
I'm gonna avenge
And you
my
know
mother.
what?
Kill
That's
Jihad.
fine.
Yeah.
It's a simple goal, but it doesn't need to be anything more than that because the whole shtick of the show is that people want to climb the tower to accomplish
Yeah.
something.
All right. But we got to talk now. We got to talk about Bam because someone could easily say he has the clearest motivation. He wants to
But he
take
doesn't want to
Rachel
climb the
there.
tower.
He wants, yeah, he wants to meet Rachel and take her there, right? He wants to bring her to the top so she can see the stars because he is nothing without her.
Yeah,
Because
he
he's a
literally
fucking loser.
doesn't want to climb the tower. So he doesn't
No.
have. I mean,
Okay, so
sure,
so
if you want to say his
Rachel
goal is
does.
clear, but
Yeah, Rachel, but Rachel wants to see stars or be a star. She wants to be special, and that's just a lame ass fucking reason, isn't it?
should we talk about Rachel when we get to
Yeah,
like
let's.
the
Best
crown
for
game?
last, right? Yeah.
Actually, yeah, the next episodes are the crown game. Episode 4 and episode 5. That's all the crown game.
Good.
So
That's where
like
the show peaks.
apparently Rachel enters. We learn very quickly that Rachel enters the testing grounds with Dorsey. We learned who that is eventually. After Bomb has already made it all the way to the crown game. And
Yeah.
we're explained that later on, like why she came late, although she left first.
Yeah.
And she has this big ass weird demon thing with her, and they killed everyone in their
Yeah.
battle royale test or
Yeah.
whatever. They killed everyone. It was just the 3 of them. So one of the rankers gets in trouble because he fucked up his test by letting that happen, and they're like, "All right, move them over to the crown game with
Yeah.
Liroro," which Liro is confused about, but that's never really explained why they really
No.
did that.
It's
And
not explained at all how they let
that's
that
an
happen.
answer that I guess we'll get later on because at the very end of the show, Liroro's like, "I need to find the truth." But
Yeah. I fucking
anyway,
doubt they're gonna go through that trouble.
fucking. So they do the crown game. They have. I actually really like the crown game part. I thought
Yeah, it was cool.
it was cool seeing everybody's abilities, the little fights, seeing Kuhn's like
Yeah.
strategies come into play and all that. The music in the fights
Yeah.
was really good.
It was like shonen tournament style shit, but it was fast paced and it wasn't like they didn't linger on fights too much. It was
Yeah.
moving. It had momentum. It was cool.
And then the Black March, which was ignored for like 2 episodes, finally comes up again.
Yeah, for the last
Because
time
Anak
almost.
notices it. And then Anak makes the weird move to demand that Bomb gives her the Black March.
Yeah,
And
she
then,
gets off the throne. That's very out of character, but whatever. We need to be reminded that Bam has a really special weapon and he's special. So she skirts
comes
everything.
over
Yeah.
and was like, give that to me. And then they make the deal that if they win, he can keep it. And if they don't, he has to give it up. It's like, okay, whatever. I thought it was kind of awkward, but I could understand since she's apparently a princess of Jihad why those weapons are important because they imply that they are.
Yeah,
So
but
I was willing to
nonetheless,
just swallow that.
it is a little awkward though.
Yeah, no, it was awkward, but I this is still early in the show, so when I first watch it, I was like, I'm willing to swallow this and just move on, so I see where this goes.
Sure.
And then what else happens in the crown game? Like Kuhn does a strategy and everything, and then Rachel and Dorsey and the weird demon guy, they come in the last round.
Yeah, also, can we talk real quick? What are the limitations of his fucking bag? It can duplicate anything and hide people in there and shit.
I guess it's the best thing I can think of is his bag is a pocket dimension with the ability to copy things and keep like it has its own little world in there. But we don't ever learn what's the deal with Kuhn's bag. He just says, he says the abilities in the crown game, and he says it's special and it can do a lot more than just hold people and copy things. But that's never visited again.
It might one day though.
And I wish I was putting down a list or writing on a list of things that we end up saying that end with, but it's never visited again.
Yeah,
because there's plenty of that.
Because there's so much we've already skirped over. Like, what's the name of the blue magic that's basically like their water?
The Shinsu.
The Shinsu.
Talking about the wall.
The Shinsu, yeah, exactly. We didn't really go into depth on the Shinsu, on the little black balls that are just Deus Ex Machina
Oh yeah, the
tools.
pockets.
Yeah, there's so much that we're skirting over just because we're trying to tackle like broad strokes over what's wrong with it. But we could go on for hours. There's so much shit that they set up and never deliver on, and they just
Yeah,
become like they just like
like
here,
that
accept
passing
this is in the
comment
world. Yeah,
with the pocket. It was like, oh, I don't remember if this was in the Japanese sub, which that's what I watched. Um,
yeah.
and then I watched a bit of the English dub, but the English dub was terrible.
There's
But
total shit.
the dialogue for it was horrible. But in the dialogue for the English dub, they say in passing that like a high quality pocket is wasted on you in reference to bomb, but
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know what a pocket is
No.
really at that point,
And
other
all that
than
does is bring up more questions. Like, what is a different quality fucking pocket?
yeah,
Like,
there's different quality pockets. What exactly do pockets do? How are they given
yeah.
them? Like
And
what?
I'm gonna genuinely ask you because I just didn't understand. Like when they're in those like weird, like computer simulation Code Lyoko fucking scenes, that's them with their pocket, right? Like, because I was just staring at it, like, where
Code
is?
Lyoko.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I'm like,
No,
where
I know
is?
exactly what you mean.
I'm like, is Kun in a fucking simulation? And then like someone just comes and talks to him, and he's just standing there. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck is going on?
I don't exactly. I think that's their pockets, but that was one that I'll talk about that when we get there because I have things to say about that too. That
It,
since you bring that up,
yeah, there's a lot.
but
Oh,
yeah,
and
no,
another
there's
fucking thing. When you said who is the other dude in the tower who's causing trouble? The dude with like the tattoo on his chest.
yo, he's one of the irregulars. I don't remember his name. I don't know if they give the name.
They fucking. I bet they don't. There's so much that they set up that they don't deliver on. Like, why would you waste screen time setting up these things when you could just explain to us more about the characters in the
I mean,
world?
even if
Why?
they don't tell us exactly who he is, they could at least give us like one singular thing that he's done that makes him such a problem
Yeah,
in the
because
tower.
anyone could go cause trouble. Like,
It's
fuck.
but then again,
Shit.
we don't really know much about irregulars other than that they come there by different means than the regulars, and that
Yeah.
they're often a problem for the tower, whatever the fuck a quote unquote problem for the tower even means, because we still don't know
Yeah.
the nature of the tower.
No,
So,
the regulars we know are chosen to
which
be
again, we shouldn't
climbing. Yeah.
know the nature of the tower in full yet, but
No.
can't even speculate. We're not even given something to
Because
speculate on.
if these people have spent their whole lives there, they have to know what's going on a little bit. They know
Oh
who
yeah, that's
Jihad
the other
is. We
thing.
learn about Jihad.
Since we're still in that episode range, when Liroro tells Bomb, he's like, "Yeah, everyone is born in the lower residential area of the tower,
Yeah.
and then the testing grounds. I think he says are in the middle area, and then there's the higher areas. So it's really awkward when they say like been chosen to climb the tower. It's like, well, how haven't I technically? I've been in the tower already. I guess you're just
Yeah.
telling me that you want me to be tested now, but like for what?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. There's no understanding of how the rules work. I know that the rankers are rankers because they pass the tests, so they become rankers. They're powerful. But then this dude at the end gets fired. Like, what the fuck? Like, he works at
Yeah.
Google, and like he walks out in a fucking suit and tie. Like, aren't you wearing like Japanese robes or whatever the fuck? Like, is that your uniform? Do you go to
Dude,
work?
I
Do you
have no
clock in the
fucking.
morning? It's
And that's
so
the other
bizarre.
thing which you bring up, like with the setting and the atmosphere. It's like sometimes it really felt like the show had these supernatural vibes to it, like these fantasy vibes.
The
And then other
beginning,
times it felt like kind of weird pseudo sci-fi reality shit.
yeah. It's like they really just. I don't want to sound like the biggest dick in the world, but it's like they cherry picked every popular show and tried to throw a little bit of it into it. Like
It
with
almost is like that.
like okay, let's do some school stuff because people like school shit. We'll have them in a fucking classroom at the end for some reason. Let's throw in like tournament style stuff because of whatever. I haven't watched My Hero Academia, but I think there's some of that shit in there. Like just tournaments and like getting
Oh, I
like
mean, tournaments and shonen is just that goes hand in hand.
exactly. And those are the best arcs always. Everyone loves that shit. Cell games, it's forever. But then they also threw in like let's do some of this religious supernatural like Neon Genesis whatever the fuck. And then let's just have like a vast supernatural alien like creature world. They wanted to have their cake and
There's
eat it too.
there's a lot going on with this, and that's why our conversation's all over the place. It's like so much to fucking tackle.
Yeah. And the
It's
problem
like
is, it still feels like at the end of it, we just watched a prologue for something.
it's
There's
like
so much exposition.
I think I said the other day that it's like a shit ton to consume, but there's no nutrition, there's no sustenance in
Mhm.
it. There's a lot to take in, but then there's really nothing that comes out of it.
All biscuit, no chicken by the end of that fucking show.
All right, so fuck it. I mean, right. So just really quickly so we can move on.
Hmm.
Crown game, you know, Rachel comes in with her people, and Dorsey fights the thick red bitch,
But they
and
protect
gets
Bam.
defeated. They protect Bam for some reason, but whatever. They
Yeah.
protect him. Okay. But the thick red bitch in the full body
Sick.
tights fucking like makes a fool out of everyone and then goes and like straight up breaks Rachel's brow ridge for some reason. And
Yeah.
then Bomb rushes over to help her, of course, because that's his whole thing. You know, he
Yeah.
only cares about Rachel. Whatever, fine, I
Yeah.
understand. It's a shitty trope.
It's
It's
like,
a shitty idea,
but
but that's his thing.
but that early in the show, it wasn't so fucking obnoxious as it becomes right after this.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. So it's like whatever. Again, I swallowed it. I can understand it. But
Yeah.
then he gets really hurt over it, and he, I guess, enters a near death state, and then he all of a sudden gets his fucking Teen Gohan Super Saiyan 2 moment where he just explodes into this
Yeah.
golden Shinsu, which like tears open the eye of the bitch that was about to finish him off, I guess.
Yeah.
And then no one comments on it.
No.
Leroy sees it on like his test feed or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, well, this is interesting." And then they
Yeah.
just not a single other character, not Kun, not Rock, Anak, Hots,
No.
nobody says anything about what the fuck happened in the crown game.
Every
at the
single one
end.
of them should hypothetically have treated him like not only the strongest one of the group, but like a god. Like they always think like, oh, Hots is his name, right? Or Anak. It's like they're so strong, but they still treat Bam like he's just like a little kid or whatever. It's like, no, you should look at him like he could kill you in a second.
Like, did you see what the fuck he just did?
That's
It's
what
like
you're
he
saying.
clearly doesn't understand what his powers are,
No.
but that makes him all the more dangerous.
Right. It's like the world doesn't react realistically to anything this dude does ever. Ever. Oh.
So after the crown game, let's see. Let me check the synopsis for episode 6 real quick.
Oh, just a heads up. I didn't hear anything that was said in the last 10 seconds.
That's fine. I was just talking about Ray.
All right. Thank you, Discord.
So after the crown game, that's when they start getting put into their dorms and stuff.
Oh yeah,
And
what the
that's
fuck is
also
that
the
about?
point where we know for sure that was Rachel, and Rachel asks Kun to lie about her being there.
Yeah. Which doesn't make much sense to me for either of them. Like, why would Kun agree? Like, I get he thinks that she's a detriment, and he's probably right to do that. But also,
I mean,
like,
Kun was doing it for Bomb's sake.
Yeah.
Rachel's just a bitch. But
Yeah.
the whole thing is, it's all irrelevant because Bomb knew already for sure that was Rachel.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he knew very clearly that was Rachel, and you can tell as the viewer from the way he reacts whenever she's around that he knows that that's Rachel, but he doesn't react to.
She doesn't even try to disguise herself. She looks exactly the same, wearing the same clothes.
More importantly, he doesn't react to anyone lying to him.
No.
He doesn't care. I'm surprised
I
that he
didn't
didn't
even
have
think
a
of
character
that.
moment that, like, he's like, well, Kun, why were you untruthful about this? Or
Yeah.
Rachel, why are you hiding from me? I know it's you.
Yeah, or like, why do y'all think I'm so stupid? Like, I could clearly tell that's her. She looks exactly the same as she did when I last saw her in a cave. She still looks like a raggedy-ass mole rat wearing a fucking dirty cloak. Like, obviously that's you.
I think around episode 6, 7 is also where we start seeing the dynamic between Anak and Dorsey with their little rivalry.
Yeah, which is, to me, the best part of the show.
We start learning more about Anak there. We learned, like, why, because Kun mentions in one of those episodes that Anak is dead. And then we learned that Anak is the name of her mother, who was a ranker, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And that's why Dorsey keeps calling her an imposter. And, that it was a cool part of the show. It was interesting because we got a little bit of insight into
Yeah.
the princesses of Jihad and the things they can and can't do.
But what didn't make sense at one point, Anak said, "Yeah, you're an imposter too," and then I think the episode just ended, but they never follow through. And Dorsey isn't an imposter.
I mean, I feel like maybe there is the vibe I was getting from that is maybe there is like a one true princess of Jihad, and that
Yeah.
like there is the princess of Jihad, and then there's like the princesses of Jihad, like they have titles because they reached this certain point of the tower or they were chosen from their families or whatever.
That
But
crossed my mind too, but then Yuri's like, "Those are my monsters" when they're in the cave, and I just got angry.
I mean, it seems like the princesses all refer to themselves as family because they become like part of the
Yeah.
Jihad family. It's
Well, I
almost like
mean-
an adopted thing, it seems.
We'll find out in season 3. It's alright. Like,
Because
fuck it.
Dorsey refers to Anak as her niece, and
Yeah.
Anak eventually refers to Dorsey as her aunt. So it
Yeah.
seems to be like that's the whole
Yeah.
their whole shtick.
Yeah.
So like that's good and dandy and all, but that comment where she was like, "You're an imposter too," I don't know if maybe that was just a passing throwaway line where she was, just because she was pissed off, or maybe it's referring to something bigger. But like I keep saying, I can't speculate because there's nothing else to go off of.
Yeah, grasping at straws. Like even the little things they give us. Like I love Dorsey's like clear, like vanity, but the reason it's there is because she thinks like, I don't know. She has like severe daddy issues with Jihad, and she needs to like try to make herself look good. So she's
And then
always
also
putting
her
on makeup.
backstory is like that.
Yeah,
where,
exactly.
Like, she was the weakest of her family, and like
Yeah.
they all looked down on her. So she was like, I need stuff to look powerful.
Yeah, so it's like that, but that stuff is so cool for characterization. Too bad we get like fucking none of it.
Fucking
None of it.
There's a moment within those episodes 6 and 7, which like that's where the whole weird like high school part of the show starts, where they're all like at the cafeteria and
Cafeteria.
and like
Why?
we're all assigned to roles, like this is some kind of RPG anime. You're the mage and I'm the scout, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? But besides all that, there's a cool moment that it's not even cool, it's just I enjoyed it, where Dorsey and Rachel are in the bathroom.
Oh, I love that. No, that's great.
Dorsey turns to Rachel and is like, look, bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want at the top of the tower, but it better be more worth like how Baum feels for you, because this kid's busting his balls.
Yeah.
Just to meet you, like just to help you out, and you're just absolutely dubbing him. And Rachel's like, fuck you, you're an asshole, and leaves.
Yeah. But I mean, because the show is self-aware.
Yeah, that's what everyone is thinking. Like, all the viewers must be thinking at that point, like, what the fuck is Rachel's problem? Like, do you not see what Baum's doing for you? Sure, Baum's a shit character, but at least in the world, he's, supposedly a nice dude.
Yeah. And the reason for her doing that is the laziest writing I've seen in a TV show.
Oh, man, we'll get to that. We're almost there. Yeah. The next 2 episodes...
Mouth is watering.
And take a quick drink of water.
Because they had to go around and like get signatures for their team, and it just felt like I was watching.
It felt like I was watching a slice of life.
It's just this
even
show.
In my first time, I hated that part of the show.
It has no idea what it wants to be. It's a tonal fucking Frankenstein. Like they don't know if they want to be serious or goofy or chibi or dark and supernatural. They have no idea, so they just throw all of it down our throats.
It's like if I had the ability to do it, but I don't. Just all anybody needs to do to see exactly what we mean is watch a clip from episode 1, watch a clip from the Crown Game, then watch a clip from like episode 7, and like you'll see they just seem like different shows, but with the same character.
And
episode 1 is so dark and mysterious, and then the Crown Game is like a tournament arc, and then high school life almost, like slice of life with RPG elements almost.
And then I don't know what the fuck is going on in that whole tag sequence. That was probably the most confusing part of the show to me. Just because I didn't really... that's the part where I kind of was like, I don't think I care anymore about what's going on.
That part really seemed odd and convoluted for some reason. It was a weird test, but it was like, you got to prevent it, which was one of the rankers, Quant, from getting to the end by any means possible. But But in that, there's a whole subplot where the one-horned dude, the Oni guy, I don't remember his name. I remember almost everyone else's name except for
Yeah.
him.
Ho.
Ho, yes, Ho.
Yeah.
He has some serious like inferiority issues because
Yeah.
he's the same role, a wave controller, as Bomb and
Yeah.
the sleeping guy who we need to talk about him.
Yeah. My favorite character with no fucking backstory.
And like a couple other people, they're all wave controllers, but Ho, at first is trying to give advice to Bomb, be nice, but Bomb is, Gary Stu, so he just excels easily throughout their training sequences, and Ho's like falling behind. And
Right.
for some odd reason, that gets Ho's panties in a bunch. I know he's a guy. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
And like he gets sent a message by one of the higher ups in the towers. He's used to like try to get Bomb out of the tower by killing Rachel or something. But then that also at the same time was some people in the tower trying to help Rachel get higher up. Like it becomes
Yeah.
extremely convoluted at that
Yeah.
point. Because the whole thing is Ho dies because of it. He ends up killing himself.
He fucking kills himself because there can't be any obstacle for Bam to face head on. All of his obstacles, like the thing that potentially killed the only thing that matters in his life, is like, I'm sorry, and kills himself.
Let's be fair, dude. If Bomb had any kind of adverse reaction to Ho stabbing Rachel, Ho wouldn't have survived.
No.
Bomb probably would have killed him.
And then he would have had to face his consequences of him murdering someone. Everyone else would have learned how strong he was. I would have loved something.
But I
Man.
highly doubt, just like from the writing of the show, that even if he had like freaked out and killed Ho, he may have felt a little bit bad. But I'm almost positive everyone around him would have been like, well, Ho stabbed Rachel. Like you had to do it. It's okay, Bomb.
You're right. You're right. I mean, because that's just the nature of this fucking show is that he can't do wrong. Literally can't do wrong.
I guess it was Ho took the smart way out, and he was like, "Let me get the fuck out of this horrible ass show," and he killed himself. He was like, "I'm fucking peacing out," and then during that whole thing, like, Endorsi is having a moment. Like, Endorsi's on Bomb's team, and like she starts beating up other guys for some reason to do with her backstory, and then she's like, Bomb, this has something to do with you too, and then Bomb goes look for Rachel, and then I don't know. The only good part about this section of the show was like the way Kun handled everything.
Yeah, doing his scheming.
Kun had like this really cool strategy, and he manipulated the shit out of the Rancor.
Yeah. Wait, I get what he was doing, but at the same time, it was like, wouldn't it have just been easier to get it done straightforward, like without sabotaging the other team? Because like he figured out that you need 10 signature or whatever people to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he didn't just tell the rest of them that. I could have missed that though.
I mean, honestly, out of all the quote-unquote tests, which honestly, looking back, the test seems so weird and arbitrary sometimes, but I guess we'll learn why later. This test was one of the stupidest ones to me, because like the people that failed the test, did anybody really fail the test?
I was about to say the tests have like no fucking stakes. They're so arbitrary. Like
it's like unless you die during the test, it seems like it doesn't do anything.
It's like, okay, moving on then. And
that's the other thing. The test becomes so much more lighthearted as the show goes on.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the first test with like the steel ball on the eel, fucking Bomb could have died easily. And then the very next test after that is a battle royale where they're like kill 200 people.
Everyone is just killing each other left and right. It's straight up mayhem. And then the end of it, they're playing fucking tag.
What? I mean, people got hurt during that game, but Ho killed himself. But
because there was some other trickery going on, not because of the game itself.
The savagery in the beginning is nowhere to be seen here, because the best part about that, like when the tests were more violent, is you could really see how desperately people want to get to the top of this tower. It's like they are more than willing to callously kill each other and go through all this weird, creepy bullshit
And then it
to
becomes a
get to the top.
lighthearted slice of life high school anime.
And then all of a sudden, these tests seem like I don't know what they even become.
I don't
And
think the
then
show knows either. I think they're just haphazardly following the source material while maintaining none of the tone.
episode 10, because we just covered 8 and 9, was
Yeah.
like about Rachel and Bomb finally reuniting. And this is the point where Rachel's character showed promise
Yeah.
because you know
Sort of.
she finally reveals herself to Bomb, and like after they talk outside after the worthless funeral or whatever, like she breaks down, she apologizes to Bomb, but she's like, I still want to climb the tower, but I'm sorry for what I did, whatever. It showed an area of, it's like, I say it showed promise that her character could have been a bit layered, emotionally at least,
Yeah. Like
where
she
her
breaks down
goals
and
are
cries like
conflicted.
just abandon me.
Like, and it shows that dream sequence at some point where it's like she's chasing the star through the passageway, and then she sees Bomb, and then he leaves, and then like that upsets her. Like she
Yeah.
starts chasing him instead. So it like implied that there was some serious inner turmoil in her character between what she really wanted to do, which is climb the tower to see the stars, and like what she felt was right for herself emotionally, being with Bomb and his friends or whatever,
Yeah.
that's implied there. But anyway, that episode was worthless. And I think that one bitch leaves the show at that point.
the
She just
like
decides, I
the
don't want to
the
climb the tower anymore.
the drunk like loud Hoey one.
Yeah, with the knife that was
Yeah,
with
no,
Ho and the sleeping guy.
she's just
She
gone.
just straight left the show like it was fucking American Idol or something. She just decided,
Yeah.
I don't want to be in this competition anymore, and left.
Yeah, because they all it's like, and the thing is like they could have chosen like, are you gonna like try to help Bam like with this Guardian test or not? She didn't even say anything. It was just like it's over. You're
It's
out.
like, bro, didn't the god of the tower or whatever, like head ass, didn't he straight up say, like, I'm choosing you, you have to go climb the tower because I chose you? Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't, when Bomb enters the tower, and it seems like everyone else, you never get the idea that like they're there. I mean, they're not, let me back up. It doesn't ever seem like they're there by choice. It's more like they're there by like a burning driven desire. Like, I have to be
like
here.
it's their like that's their only motivation is like this is what I must do.
And like they
So that's
explain
why
her
they're chosen.
backstory where she's like, my people got killed, me and my thief girls, and like then I was chosen in the tower for salvation or whatever. So like
Yeah,
her reason for being chosen is weird because it's like she didn't seem to have any desire to be there, but she was there anyway, which one could argue is why she left. But can you really just leave when the going gets tough? Can you just be like, I'm not gonna make it. Let me just go.
the show won't tell us about the world, so we have no fucking way of knowing.
And it just seems like such an inappropriate thing for the character to do in reference to how the show works. It seems so like just grossly inappropriate for a character to decide, I'm not gonna make it. So you know what? Before things get too rough, I'm just gonna leave. I'm not gonna climb the tower. When the whole show is about people desperately trying to reach the top of the fucking tower. They want to be
Yeah,
God. It's like, why?
there's so much we want to understand.
Her character didn't add anything, is basically
No,
what I'm
there were
saying.
too many characters for all of them to be fleshed out properly, and then they didn't flesh out fucking any of them.
Speaking of which, episodes 11 and 12, which is the Guardian
Yeah, Guardian
the
trial.
test where Rachel and Bomb, this is like this test was supposed to be a really big deal. This was like, it was like the administrator's test or something.
Yeah,
Um
they became at the end of it. I think the only non-rankers to complete that,
yeah, like it
which
was a
was
big deal for them to complete it, and it really gave them a huge boost in how high they can go in the tower.
yeah. That's why the Lero and the other dude got fired because they didn't do their job right.
It's like I guess they got fired because they passed.
Yeah, because
Um
Kuhn was right. Like the administration thing or whatever was fucked up. Not that we know even what that really means, but yeah, for whatever reason, this ridiculously difficult task, and they all do it. But they all really only do it because Bam just killed the bull because he can, right? Like that's really the reason
I
they
mean,
won.
Bomb ended up just protecting himself more or less. And
Yeah,
also at the same time, there still was the subplot with Anak going on and
yeah,
how she
which
was being hunted by one of the royal dudes, like the dudes that protect
yeah,
Jihad
yeah,
and the
which is
royal family.
such a great part. I love that part in the cave with the three of them, Chibisu and the two girls, and then that fucker,
Yeah,
and
Shibisu
then
and
Yuri.
Dorsey, Anak, and then they all fight
Yeah,
the dude, and it was interesting. The dude's
yeah.
character design was like grody.
Honestly,
He
that
had a
was
little
my favorite part.
marshmallow.
Yeah, I really hated looking at it, but I get what they were doing. But the bull was honestly pretty scary when he was fucking up in Dorsey. Like that was literally like legitimately tense. And I'll give
And
some props to the show about that. I thought that was pretty like they're like, oh, wait, now he got much stronger. What's gonna happen? And then he's like, oh, that's it.
finally, after all this time, Yuri finally makes her way to them, and she and her people just raffle stomp this dude that's like fucking up in Dorsey and Anak, basically killing them. She
Yeah,
just absolutely annihilates them. And then, hold up, here's the big thing. That big fucking important sword that was a plot point in the first few episodes, the Black March,
yeah,
just Yuri comes and takes it, and then that's it.
yeah. And like I said, how the fuck was it there? How was it out? Wasn't it stored in the pocket? Why
Yeah,
is it such a
you
plot
brought that up.
convenience?
Fucking Anak
Yeah,
should have had the Black March in like the inventory mode for her pocket or
yeah.
whatever.
Her in
Why
her
did it just
inventory.
why did it just fall out when she
Because
was like
yeah, because
injured or whatever?
plot contrivance. Yuri's like, oh, my very important sword.
I
Like,
just
and
I,
why the fuck did that marshmallow peep looking dude? Why did he just straight up attack Yuri? Because he knows that she's like ostensibly his boss's like honored daughter. He goes, oh, I can't help it, ooh, and fucking attacks her for no
I mean,
reason.
creepy character with creepy vibes. He's a monster. Dude, I
I
don't fucking know. I mean, I guess they needed a reason to show off just how strong Yuri is because she's both a ranker and a princess of Jihad, which, from what we
yeah,
know, like that's a
yeah,
big fucking deal.
no, that's thick.
She's definitely she's definitely one of, if not the most powerful character we've seen in the show.
Yeah, for sure.
So like she's
Oh,
important. I just wish there was a bit more of her.
yeah, that's
Because
and
like
then
what part of the tower was she climbing?
yeah,
You
they
know?
were like lost with the navigator, but that's what I was gonna say. Then there's her navigator dude, the white haired guy, finds out that red haired thicky
Oh, we're
whatever.
not there yet.
We're not there. Fuck, like with it, there's I can't even pick a lane. Or we like that. When what about that the animus bitch, the one who can control animals? What's all that about?
Oh, well,
Why do they
she was
have to feed
always there,
seals?
but
But
like that
but
chick was always there and she just wasn't a part of the show, but I guess since that one bitch left the show,
they
they
replaced her.
decided we need another character to put here because there's not enough characters in the show already.
Yeah.
I know this reference is going to be kind of lost, but I have to say it because I think this is the best example I can give to someone that's watched it. Um, like someone being whoever may listen to this.
Mm.
Um, Dragon Ball Super in their final arc called the Tournament of Power, they did this thing where they had all these different universes put together teams of like 10 different fighters. It was like 10 or 12, some arbitrary number. And they all get together in this big battle royale and they all fight each other. And whoever's left, their universe wins. Whoever loses, their universes get destroyed. That's like the basic synopsis of it. And I don't remember, I was watching a video once and they talked about the character not the character, the show tries to introduce like 50 plus characters at the same time. And if you were to ask me to name a single like character that Goku and the others fought in that arc that wasn't the final boss, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But
Yeah, that's what most of the show feels like.
but they still manage to give a decent, like an inappropriate amount of screen time to these characters that are just there to fill up the slots. And that's how I felt about a lot of the side characters in Tower of God. It's like they're there because they wanted to have a team, like They wanted them to start climbing the tower as a team, which seems so contradictory to the whole point of the show to me.
It doesn't make sense. Why? It's like we're gonna teach. It's like it's literally like a school anime. Like we're gonna teach you all a lesson here about teamwork. It's like why? You're not our fucking teacher. You're mythical fucking like super powerful god henchmen that are trying to
That are
conduct a
like
test.
testing on us.
See who's worthy. It's not like a fucking school or a
It's like there
business.
didn't need to be this many characters, and I'm bringing this up now because within these episodes, this is the last time we see like Hots really do anything. And
Yeah, who's been a
Hots,
fucking joke the whole series after the crown tournament.
like Hots in the beginning is shown to be like ludicrously powerful. He's like on par with a Knock
Yeah.
because him and a Knock fought each other to a standstill in episode 2.
Hmm.
In the crown game, him and a Knock were unstoppable.
Yeah. But he
Like
got demoted to fucking comic relief character with like he's like, why do you have to be so rude to
they
people?
paired him up with fucking
Shibisu.
Shibisu,
Yeah.
who's just that, a comic relief character.
Yeah.
And although when Hots has his other fight sequences, they're good, and he's also shown to have like at the littlest we know about him is that has some kind of sense of honor, and like when he's in a team, whether he likes it or not, he's willing to place trust into other people. Because
Yeah.
during the tag game, he was like, "I'll hold Quant off, and you guys hit him with the spears." And
Hmm.
then the motherfuckers with the spears abandoned him. But even
Yeah.
so, after that, later on in the next test, he's like, "I still trust you guys to help me." So like, that's the littlest, tiniest little morsel of character we get from Hots, and that's it. The show ends, and we don't know anything about him.
Yeah,
Like,
that's about right. He's still there. He's still risking his life in these dangerous trials for the sake of Bam for whatever reason. I don't think did those two characters speak once? I think
Bomb and
once.
Hots, yeah,
Yeah.
they spoke a couple times, but it was arbitrary. I mean, it didn't have any
Yeah.
weight. It was like in those weird high school scenes. So
Yeah. And it was when he was trying to convince Kun to be nice to him, I think, or when they were giving food to the two girls. Like, it's like I'm getting lost in my own head thinking about what the fuck show we just watched. Like,
it's
there's
so strange.
so
And then,
much to talk about.
I mean, Rock is another comic relief character that we know literally nothing about. And like, I would be so much more upset with his character if he wasn't part of the main team.
Yeah, we haven't said word one about him because,
Yeah,
like, what is there to say?
there's
He's a
nothing to
comic
say. We
relief.
know nothing about him. Zero about him,
Yeah.
honestly. We just know that he wants to fight strong opponents with strong weapons.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
okay.
English dub is extremely obnoxious the entire
And the
show.
English dub makes his character unbearable. I was okay
Yeah.
with it in the sub, but the dub,
Yeah.
oh my god, he was
No.
obnoxious.
The subby's fine. The English is just unfucking believable how annoying he is.
Shibisu, another comic relief character that we know literally nothing about. He walks up to Bomb near the beginning of the Crown game, and he's like, you and I are the only like more ordinary looking guys here, so I'm willing to look out for you. Let's look out for each other, whatever, be friends.
Yeah.
Okay, I can kind of get that dynamic, especially in the beginning, because everyone around Bomb is weird, and
Yeah.
Shibisu's just like this dude in a tracksuit, so it's just like,
Yeah.
all right, I can see that. But like he doesn't really do much, and like they try to imply that he had a close relationship with the chick that leaves the show, but it's like,
Yeah.
who cares, because we know almost nothing about her, and we know almost nothing about you.
Yeah. Well, their fucking romance. I was gonna say their romance is literally as good, if not better, than Bam and Rachel. Like,
Romance.
yeah, That's
And you
exactly.
know what? Now here's the perfect time. Let's get to the final episode and let's just slap
Yeah.
it on the table. Let's just whip it out.
Well, question one, as a preface, do we know what their relationship is, Bam and Rachel? Is it romantic? Is it mother and son? Is it like friends? What really is the best way to define their fucking relationship? Because I don't know.
The best way to define their relationship is, I guess, the relationship of they don't have anybody else.
Yeah,
It's
just
heavily
totally
implied that
dependent.
wherever they're from, Rachel had nobody else, and Bomb had nobody else. And it's weird because at first I thought maybe Rachel was from like a village or something, and then Bomb came from underneath. But like, there's never any mention of them knowing anybody else. Rachel never says she knew anybody else or had friends, but she somehow knows the nature of the world. Like, this is what conflict is. This is what love is like. Those kind of things. She taught those things to Bomb. and Bomb, didn't know anything, and I guess they just had each other. We don't know for how long they had each other to know how close they actually should be, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And
And that's all we really and that's really all we know at the end, except at the end, we know that Rachel's a bitch who just hated him.
which that was the
Nail in the
most
coffin. That was it.
that was definitely that's what killed the show for me, and that's what, when I finished the show, although I had initially given it like an 8 in my own personal head,
Yeah.
my own personal scoring,
You were like, something still smells stinky here.
something I was like, I really need to think on this because Rachel's character had so much wasted potential. Because I think I said it to you before, Rachel pushes Bomb out of the bubble in the underwater hunt test,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which was a big fucking deal because A, means Rachel was faking being paralyzed,
Yeah.
and B, it means that, Rachel still is in the mindset that she'll do anything to climb the tower, which is fine. But what bothered me is right after that, we get this big like flashback sequence where you see Rachel was there the whole time, where when Bomb took the steel ball test, um she got the demon guy from Head On that was somehow linked to her life. So when she
Yeah.
got injured, I guess the injury kind of went away in exchange for that thing disappearing, which that's another thing. We don't learn anything about that demon guy. That was apparently her weapon. That's what we know.
Yeah.
That
No,
was her
that's
weapon.
yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't know how the fuck that works, but let's just accept it. And then she starts talking about how she was jealous of Bomb getting everything and how everything is about Bomb, whatever. But, bitch, I mean, first of all, he did all this stuff for you. And second of all, how could you possibly have feelings of distaste or hate for him when,
Yeah.
like, before he even met anybody? They
It's,
heavily
that's the
imply,
thing.
yeah, they heavily imply that she didn't like him at all ever, but that can't possibly be true.
It said he got annoying, but it's like, how could you possibly find him annoying if that's the only person you've ever known? He clung to you. It's like, yeah, you're alone in a fucking cave. Why aren't you doing the same? Why are you so goddamn sociopathic? And then,
It's like, I
but
could understand if those feelings of like animosity built over time, but they really made it feel like that's how she
no.
always was.
And here's the thing: for a second, I actually like totally understood, but then I realized I'm an idiot. Like she was like, "Why does Bam get everything? He's just fucking Bam. Why is he so special?" So I started to hate him, and I was like, "Okay, I totally get that." But I was like, "Wait a minute. Was this? This must have been before you were in the tower, because you hated him
Mm-hmm.
before. Like if she was like, "Oh my god, it's Bam. I don't want to say anything to him because that doesn't make any sense fucking either." But it's like, how do you start hating? How do you know he has ever for that in that very beginning when she watches him get the ball?
And some evidence to support what we're saying right now is the way she acted in the Crown game when she said to Endorsey, "Yeah, you can kill everybody."
Yeah, because
Although they still protected Bomb for whatever reason.
yeah, and
But
also
that,
because she had to kill him with her own hand. They made that very clear.
yes, I mean, because she had the knife and everything.
Yeah,
And this is where my biggest gripe is with Rachel's character. She had the knife, but she couldn't bring herself to do it, right? Which shows like some hesitation, which shows some turmoil in her character. But
yeah,
no, the show really just ends off with her being like, "Yeah, no, fuck Bomb, I hate him. I just want to climb the tower." Like, it doesn't, there's no turmoil in her character at all. She's just straight up, "I want to climb the tower. Fuck Bomb. He's in my way."
yeah.
That was
It
really it.
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it really was a missed opportunity because in my personal opinion, if like let's say you remove that whole flashback sequence where it was like, haha, I was actually a bitch the whole time, and
It doesn't add up.
you change it with like when she pushed Bomb, let's say she was crying in that moment. Let's say like she was really, really, emotional about it, but she did it anyway. That would have implied to the viewer that, look, she still is like she's still gonna do anything to keep obstacles out of her way to get to the top of the tower, but she feels bad that she's doing it to Bomb because that's the only, person that cares about her. No one else gives a shit
Exactly. So
about
why the
her.
fuck does she hate him so much?
It's like there would be a really nice dynamic with her character if, she's willing to push Bomb out of the way and ignore him and whatnot just to get to the top of the tower, but at the same time, she still cares about him. You know, she's still regretful for the things she's doing. It would have made her
Yeah.
somewhat emotionally complex, but no, that's
They
not where they
they
went.
they did a 180 and they made her so fucking void of any complexion that she has less motivation to be evil than a fucking Disney villain. Like Captain Hook is mean because the crocodile bit his hand off and he's just like, I'm evil. What the fuck is her excuse? I don't understand.
Hmm.
Like, why is
So,
she so angry? Why does she need to be a fucking star? Just
and
aren't.
this is the biggest problem with the series. The characters are dog shit. They're horrible.
They're
There are
all of them.
almost no. You know what? No, I'm just gonna be straight up. I'm
No,
gonna be straight up. I'm done beating around the bush. Fuck this
no,
show. There are no good characters in this show. Zero.
no.
None. I know I
It's
said
the
I like
show's
Coon.
fault.
I,
It's the
I like
show's
Coon. I like
fault.
I like Endorsey.
Yeah,
Fine. But that's in reference to the show. You
yeah,
compare those characters to anybody else from any other decent anime, any anime
yeah,
that's above average, they won't
yeah,
hold up.
yeah. And same with like even like Lero or any of like the fucking administrator. Like in the show, I guess there's something
Yeah.
because at that point, if you can't get good character or personality, you're just gonna go for whatever you can get. Which is like that's why no one, except for like Bam, Rachel. That's the problem. Most of the characters aren't egregious. They're just so fucking boring. It's like, why
They're
do
just
we care about them?
like poorly and just amateurishly written.
Hmm.
Like this show, I know it comes from an old webcomic, but I really don't care. We're just looking at the show. So this
Yeah,
show could have taken a little bit of rewriting, a little bit of proofreading, maybe.
yeah, a little bit of better directing, better. And then this is the thing: we just covered like episode by episode, but there's so much we didn't talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot we didn't talk about, and we also jumped all over the place because they're honest to God is that much that's wrong.
Yeah, like, and then there's like things that are pretty big that aren't like. What about? Do you remember the dude in the episode where they had with the clock on the door? Who was that smiley face dude who like knew about Coon and like told them the hints?
Oh, I guess it was some regular or
Just
something that the
some
test
dude.
directors had paid off or asked to give
Yeah, the
hints to
administrator
people,
give him hints. Like,
but we
what's the
don't know
motivation
why.
for that?
We
Why?
don't know
Yeah,
why.
is it just? It's just everything is so contrived. Nothing feels natural in the show. Nothing feels organic. It all feels forced. Like we need to get to this fucking end point.
All right, before I guess we, really finish it off, take its money and leave it for dead in an alley, let's talk about the few things that we
Yes,
both can agree
yes,
on are legitimately good and the reasons why someone might actually like the show.
right. Because it's not all bad. The art is cool.
The
I think the
visual and
animation.
animation style
Yeah,
is cool.
I
There were
think that.
some weird moments in the animation that
Yeah,
I
I was
could
gonna
point
say
out very easily,
some of them are
but
clunky, but the art style is very nice.
yeah, and so I'm not going to even talk about them, but there are moments in the animation where you're just like,
Yeah. But some of the visuals are great. Like I loved in that whole part where they're underwater. It looked amazing. The entire
yeah.
first episode looked amazing.
The music in the show is very good. It's
Yeah.
very enjoyable. It gave off some. It was just good vibes. The music
It
was
was
just good.
yeah, all of it. I don't think it always fit the scene perfectly, but when it did, it was amazing.
The music that plays during the crown game when Coon is like really
Yes.
flexing his
Yes, yes,
brain,
yes, yes.
that music is great. For instance, it's like moments like that.
Yeah.
Some of the fight scenes are really really good. Although they're very short lived, this show is clearly not about the fights,
No, because
or it's not supposed to be.
even the subtle like ambient backing noise is just really fitting when it works. But
Hmm.
then like because and it's not even the fault of the composer. It's because the show can't pick a fucking lane. So you can't
The
even digest a scene well enough, you know?
the character designs I think are really good. The only character
Yes.
designs I don't like, surprise, surprise, are Rachel's and Bomb's.
Yeah. I mean,
But
they're not even egregious. They're just really
they're not
for our
bad. They're
main
just boring.
for two of the like the two main characters. Like Coons is more interesting, looking like a dirty school student, I
Um,
guess.
I think every character design like fits their character and their personality.
Yeah,
I mean, Rachel and Bomb are just these normie kids, so I guess they got the normie designs. But
yeah. It's fit.
It's
Their
boring.
clothing does fit their personality. We didn't even talk about the Pillow Dude, who's one of the strongest people there.
Oh yeah,
Like, there's
huh?
just
Would you
so
look at that?
much. See, there's so much we just missed, but it's not like we're trying. Like we're like we're trying to
Yeah,
cover all the
the
bases.
sleeping guy. He's like super. He's clearly one of the
Yeah,
most powerful characters in the show because he doesn't give a shit ever about what's going on, and he doesn't ever have to try. And there's a couple
right.
tests where he straight up doesn't participate and he just
He's
passes
sleeping.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's like me in fucking high school. It doesn't make sense.
But here's the thing. I was gonna say that's an example of when a character doesn't need too much backstory. Like it would be nice, but he's just so enjoyable to watch. I don't really care.
Yeah, he's a
It's
pretty
like
funny character, but
you
he's
want
he's
more, but
he's interesting because he's like the
it's just
interest in
so
his character comes from the
weird.
fact that he's so strong and he's so like there's
Yeah,
something unique about him, and what's unique is that he's so strong compared to all the other characters, and that like he seems to have weird exceptions to some of the tests.
yeah. He's Snorlax.
So it's like, but that's something to differentiate him from the other side characters. So, but
Yeah.
we don't get anything about him, which is why we didn't mention him.
No. No. Exactly. Yeah. We don't get much about a lot of these fuckers,
Like,
do
what
we?
are we supposed to say about someone we have nothing to
What
work
else?
off of?
What else can we say positive about the show? I mean, oh well, we didn't talk
The
about the
settings
worst.
were really nice. I
We didn't talk
thought,
about the worst part of the show. We can't even talk about the show's good features for long.
yeah, just
How about
stow it,
How about the literal ending fucking scene?
stow it for now, stow it.
All
Let's
right.
keep with the positives because we could go on.
Okay.
I mean,
The
most of this
music, the
fucking time has
visuals,
been like just a shit show, like us beating the shit out of the show.
it deserved it. It totally deserved it.
But there are positives in here.
I think in the Japanese the voice acting is adequate. I
the
think in English it's
The
not.
voice acting is what you want
Yeah.
of a show like this in Japanese. In English,
Yeah.
don't watch it in English.
It's
Please don't
no
watch this in
it's no
English.
Death Note. It's no fucking Cowboy Bebop. It's good though. You know,
I
it's
mean, I
nothing
don't ever
incredible.
give too much weight to voice acting, but I know bad voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like when it's really good, you don't even have to think about it because you're is so immersed. But when it's bad, it's bad.
Oh, let me take that back. I know bad dialogue when I see it because there's a lot of very
Mm.
talented voice actors in the English dub, but the dialogue is where it falls apart.
They had nothing to work with, and they probably didn't even care about the show either.
But
Like no one seemed that into it. Ironically, except Rock, he seemed really into his role, even though it was a shitty role. Oh god, no!
fucking
We're talking about why we like the show,
I
though.
liked a lot of the settings, although it was kind of weird, like how they jump from completely different
Yeah,
looking areas to completely different looking areas. Those
yeah,
settings are cool. I think the area where Bomb fought the big eel,
that
that
was
really
awesome.
helped with the atmosphere of the show being
Hmm.
like really mysterious and like
They rapidly shit on it though, but yes, that was really cool.
I mean the battle royale setting and like the setting inside the first testing grounds is just like nah.
You're just kind of like watching, like, all right, where because that it was still everything is happening so fast. Then you're like, okay, where are we? What's going on? You couldn't really absorb it. But that's the thing when the show slowed to a halt in like the cafeteria dorm part. You're like, you really it sinks in like this is just shitty hallways with rooms,
Yeah,
and
the
why
setting
are
gets
they here?
significantly worse.
Yeah.
But I think I think the whole show gets significantly worse over time. I think the
Yeah.
strength in the show is in the beginning up to the Crowden game, and then it just goes down from there.
It plummets hard. Yeah.
What else? Is
I'm
that
trying to
it?
think.
Good art, good
Honestly,
music, good setting, good character
okay, well,
designs.
no, I think the world is really intriguing. That's why it's so offensive that we didn't learn anything. I think I do want to learn about jihad, about the tower, about the power structure, about really what the fuck is going on in this place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. They didn't, but that's a more of a compliment to the source material because the anime just they ruined it. Like we learned nothing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, and that's I guess that is exactly why we're so upset about it because they do develop a really interesting concept here, that in an interesting world that you want to know more about, but just fuck it. They fuck it up. They fuck it up. They fuck it up so badly with these
Yeah.
uninteresting characters the confused genre of the show, the arbitrary tests that don't seem to mean anything and rarely have any lasting consequences on the important characters. It's I ah fuck the horrible protagonist, the horrible protagonist. Bomb is one of the fucking watching him was painful. It was painful. When I first started watching the fucking show, even while my interest in the show was at its
Yeah,
peak, I
yeah.
hated Bomb so much.
I told you I was done with episode 1.
Yeah.
You were right, you're
Yeah.
like, immediately you're gonna hate him.
I told you were gonna hate him the instant you see him do anything, and I wasn't fucking wrong. I think anybody with a fucking head between their shoulders, presumably with a brain inside the cranium, is they'll see the flaws with Bomb immediately.
You know what? That's how we started this rant, and I think that's how we should end it because we could literally go on for hours.
I guess so. I guess that's where we
I think that was a very suitable closing statement. Is how you just shit on the show. All I'll say is I think objectively I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would never watch again. Get the fuck out of my face.
Objectively,
Here's
it
the
was
thing.
it was perfect.
I think in the opening, when we first started talking, I said when I first watched this, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and then I let it simmer.
Yeah.
You want to know what I would give it right now?
You hit me.
I'd give it a 4.
I'd give it a 4. I'd give it 3.5 to a 4. It's exactly what I was
give it half of what I was going to originally give it.
Yeah, and that's because we save like a 1 or 2. That's reserved for something that's so bad we can't even appreciate music, visuals, or the potential. Like this,
a
the
1 or 2,
potential of this brought it from a 3 to a 4 to me.
A 4 is ridiculously low on my personal scale.
Yeah.
But there's things here that but I mean, I'm rating it so harshly because this show has an incredible amount of potential that they squandered.
That's why it's so offensive. I think if I even care about the world, I'd probably just give it like it was a 6. It was okay. But no, I really wanted to learn about this.
I wanted to like the show so badly, and I feel like I got spit on.
Dude, this is the first new anime I've watched, I think, since Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. I haven't seen a new anime since then.
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man, you're right, which is leagues better.
One Punch Man is really fucking good, but
this is not a fair comparison. I feel dirty even mentioning that
at all.
So I went into this thinking like, wow, okay, this is really cool. Let's see. And no, that's not true. I watched the first 2 episodes of Promise Neverland. Like I've seen things, but this one I wanted to stick with, and what a fucking disappointment. What a shame.
And you know what? Because we didn't mention it, we have to. The very ending, where everybody's all grouped up to move to the upper levels of the tower. Kun says the sensible thing, and he says, I don't know what the fuck your game is, Rachel. Like, this is like a synopsis of what he basically says. But he basically turns to Rachel and says, I don't know what your fucking game is. You slip up, you're done. But I'm going to help you for now because I don't know what happened between you and Bomb in that bubble.
Yeah, and he's like, and I'll never know. He's like, huh, oh, you really like that quirky little fella.
Bomb wakes up at like the bottom of this like ocean lake of Shinsu next to Thick Red Mama.
Because of course he's fine, right?
Yeah, he's fine. He's like encased in a bubble of Shinsu, and then she's like, "I will train you." and then
he's like, he gives her the most vague bullshit answer, like, "I'm gonna climb the tower, not because you told me I have to, but because I'm going to do it." And she smiles. She's like, "That's what I thought." And then it's like, dun 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 dun. Like, what? Like, I was shaking, laughing. I was like, "What the fuck did you just say, you idiot?"
That was really but why? Why would you want to do that? That's the kind of vibe I got from that shit.
And then the fucking narrator's like, "This is the Tower of God." So it's some dude with a ponytail.
And oh my god, don't even get me started on how I'm sure they want to be cute with this is the story of how Rachel reached the top of the tower and because she wanted to see the stars, and Bomb, the boy that needed nothing but her. It's like, okay, I already see what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell us that Rachel's going to reach the top of the tower and something's going to happen climactic between Bomb and Rachel. Okay.
Yeah. But, like, obviously, you didn't need to tell us that. We know.
This is supposed to be the story of how Rachel made it to the top of the tower. But you know what? The story of how Rachel made it to the top so far is fucking garbage.
It's just, dude, dude, it's bad. It's a bad
It's
show. It's a bad
oh my
show.
god. And you know what? I'm so surprised that I flipped so hard, like, on this show just over, like, the course of a week or so
Yeah.
after watching it, because at first I was so it's like I'd say I was genuinely impressed by what it was trying to do, and that these writing issues weren't that bad to me at first, but after really
Mm-hmm.
sitting and thinking about it, after just, like,
Yeah.
reanalyzing some episodes and rewatching some of them, it's
It's like,
like
what?
this is a really fun ride the first time through, but you know what? If you want this show to stay at the 9 out of 10 that most people think it is, then don't watch it again. Don't look at it through a critical lens, because you're gonna see just how
Yeah, just
fucking flawed it is.
yeah. There's so much that we haven't even covered. I mean, there's so much we did, but we didn't even we skimmed everything. We could have just berated it forever and ever because I mean, but the problem is there's so little they did right. But you know, let's come back whenever they do season 2. Let's do the same video after season 2 drops.
You would do the same video and
Yeah, yeah.
but I bet you know what? Now I'll be dead ass honest with you. I don't want to watch season 2.
Me either. Nothing is pulling me back to this shitty world.
It's like I wanted answers at one point, but it's like if season 2 is going to end up being anything like this, where it proposes way more questions than it does answers, I'm going to feel like my time was so wasted, and I will be so upset, because that's another thing. There's a huge difference between proposing questions to the audience in order to keep them interested and, possibly wanting more out of a sequel, and like asking so many questions that it just makes you disinterested.
Exactly.
There's so many questions I have about this show, about each individual character, about the world they're in, about the point of like the tower itself, the nature of the tower, who's Jihad, what's the deal with the princesses, what's Shinsu, why is Bomb Shinsu,
Yeah.
why do you have to make a contract with a guardian in order to manipulate Shinsu?
Why
Like
is Bomb? Just that's my only fucking question. Why?
Like, I not only have countless broad questions about the show, I have a countless number of small, focused questions about some of the details.
Yeah, a
That
quantum fucking myriad of them.
yeah, and there's no answers. There's nowhere to like grip onto hints and speculate. And that's the thing. There are some shows out there. Let's bring up a show we both
Yeah.
like, we are a universe.
You know, there's another show I realized I watched actually. It won like best fucking anime last year. Devilman Crybaby. It wasn't an adaptation. Oh, it was an adaptation. So let's compare. This was an adaptation from this year, right?
Adaptation. Well, Devilman
Yeah.
Crybaby was an adaptation of like a modern adaptation or a modern take of the original Devilman, I thought,
Yeah.
which itself was just an anime. Because I mean, it's different when you adapt like a web comic or like a game to an
Yeah.
anime.
And I guess we haven't seen the originals of either. So yeah, fuck it. But still.
But what I was gonna say is I was gonna compare like the whole sense of mystery to another, um,
Okay.
which was originally a novel. It was a mystery novel. So that's where they adapted it from, a straight up book. And another is a show that proposes this big mystery in this like creepy ass high school, right? And
Yeah.
it seems at first that they're giving you very little to work with, because the show starts off slowly. It doesn't start picking up until the third episode, and even at that point, you don't start really noticing things until like the fifth. But
Yeah.
it's a show where if you go back and really closely analyze it, there are hints and answers hidden throughout every single part of the show from the very first scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that's how you keep people interested with questions. Like when I went back to watch the however many episodes, I basically watched the whole thing again. When I went back to watch Tower of God, it was very clear there's nothing like that in the show.
There was nothing to
There's no
find.
hidden answers. There's no things to pick apart. No
No.
little pieces or of dialogue or passing statements or scenes that you could stop and pause and be like, "Wait, hold on. Does this refer to this?" Because there are little pieces of dialogue in there that are interesting, but all they do are ask more questions and then they provide answers.
Yeah, it's just a rabbit hole.
It's welcome to fucking Neverland. Like, jeez.
Yeah,
Ugh.
man.
Did we beat this to death enough? Is it
Yeah,
jelly?
I mean, the thing is, I'm sure in like an hour we'll realize there's stuff we didn't say, but I genuinely, if anyone's watched it this far, dude, I want to hear why people like this show and what we got wrong because I don't think we fucked up with any of this shit. If I bet the biggest complaint will be like, this isn't what happened in the source material. This is the answer to this. We don't give a
No,
fuck.
it's like it's again for like the third or fourth time. We're just looking at this as its own standalone thing. We're looking at the 12 episodes presented to us as if there's nothing else related to it.
Yeah, and I
And
don't
like
think we got anything wrong here.
I I think here's the biggest thing. You and I, for the most part, are quite critical of most things we watch and like consume in terms of entertainment because that's just the kind of people we are.
Yeah.
Um,
We
and
also want to like it. We like stupid shit, but this
yeah,
is
no,
just
we like some garbage, but
yeah,
at the same time, it's like when something is this quote unquote complex or mysterious, like that part of your brain needs to activate in some way, shape, or form, right? It's
exactly.
like you start paying attention to the little details because you want to figure out the mystery too. But then you start noticing the stinky things.
The big stinky shit.
But like, cause I think there's a big difference between watching a show to critique it and watching a show just to have fun. And I
Yeah.
think if you're just watching this show to have fun because you want to watch an anime with like some shonen elements and mystery, I think that's where most of the hype and most of the praise is coming from. Because again, when I first watched it, I was like, you know what? I think this is like an 8. I had some problems, but I had fun watching it initially.
Yeah. This
But
rant was not planned. This just came from us getting aggravated by what we saw, like,
mhm.
and us wanting to love it, and then getting just beyond disappointed. We didn't come into the show thinking like, let's see what's wrong with it and how we could just beat it up. We came into the show thinking like, I've heard great things. It sounds
Yeah.
interesting. Let's check it out.
Like it was very highly suggested to me. Um and the funny thing is the people that suggested it to me seem to also share some of the same issues after having watched it because the show was suggested to me when the English dub wasn't even a thing and the Japanese sub wasn't even done yet. So, people were still I think in the honeymoon phase of the show, like the early parts.
Yeah.
That's when I heard about it, but I have a very long list of anime to watch cuz I'm a low-key weeb and I was like I don't have time for this right now between work, the other shit I'm doing, and all the other shows I want to watch. This is gonna have to, be put on hold. And good lord, I wish no one suggested this to me because I probably wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah.
I was
I
actually,
wouldn't have.
unlike most people, and I know that sounds weird and contrarian. I was turned off by the idea of a Crunchyroll original.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't know why. I don't have any, I don't have any point of reference for how good or bad a Crunchyroll original may be, but I didn't want to deal with it. And
man,
Netflix has some good original anime.
definitely.
Netflix has some great original anime actually. They have fucking Baki, Devilman, Kakegurui. All those are great. Great,
Yeah.
great, great.
Yeah, man. I only saw this. I mean, I wouldn't have watched this.
I couldn't be alone. I could
No,
not be
I
alone.
don't blame you. You would have like, so okay. The ending of this was fucked. Please watch it. I'm glad
Because
I
I
did because this has been good food for thought. But damn,
would you
I
suggest this to someone that's just like, I want to watch something for fun?
honestly no. I just think
Yeah.
it was so unrewarding by the end of it. I didn't feel like, wow, that was a good way to spend my time. Like, I don't want to come down too hard on it, like, because we already beat it to death, but I would recommend something that I knew had a strong story, good characters, a good ending, all the way through, solid plot. This just didn't have any of those things I listed. Good art and good music, but that should be a given. Like, I'd say this is exceptional art and music, but that's just my
Yeah.
personal tastes. Like, what's most important,
But
like,
if we tone down
fundamentally.
the quality of the in order to get better story, then this would have been a better show.
That's it.
It's
Yeah.
not saved by the art and music. It's just it's nice
Yeah.
to look at.
That's icing on this shit cake, and what it's really just a shit cake. So we get
It's
what we
like
get.
I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying this, but I feel like people who really, really are into like the front of the page, like front of Crunchyroll page, popular shonen anime, like I don't know, My Hero or Boruto or things like that. I feel like those kind of people would very, very much enjoy this show.
Because this would be
And
so surreal if that's their only frame of reference. This would be so interesting.
and I mean, even if that's not their only frame of reference, it's just like when you think about how those shows are handled, like with their protagonists and their plots and stuff, it's not too far off. They're usually arguably, much better handled, but like it's in the same vein of, you know, usually Gary Stewish protagonist and a bunch of side characters and they're all working towards a goal together. It's just like very
Yeah.
simple shit.
Surface level shit. But
It's like
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like that's probably who this appeals to the most. And again, I'm not trying to offend anybody because I don't have a problem with those shows at all. I really don't. But I also think those fans are probably usually the more vocal ones about how they feel about a show.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it's doing so incredibly well.
Yeah.
I'm just
I don't
grasping at
understand
straws.
the popularity. I think that's just because it's Crunchyroll exclusive.
I'm
Do you
just
think people
grasping
are
at
just gonna
straws.
absolutely violate this video? Like
Hmm?
people say, like people are gonna call us like total mouth breathers for this video.
I
Whoever
I mean,
watches it.
if they watch this video at all, who's the real mouth breather?
Fair point. Touche.
I don't know how many people are actually gonna genuinely watch this video or even watch this video this far.
No one will make it this far. Even my mother wouldn't make it this far. But
But I mean,
I'm
come
glad we
on.
did this. It
The
needs to
show
be
had
heard.
promise. But I also wanted to get this off my chest so I can never think about this again.
Yeah, wash our hands with this shit.
So I can go on and watch something that I actually like, hopefully.
Right. Let's call it quits. PhookiNada official 4 out of 10. Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, let's give it a 4 out of 10
A
and
generous 4 out of 10.
a generous 4 out of 10. And if there ever is a season 2, well, whoever watches it, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I hope it's as good as you think it will be.
Yeah.
And to the
Seriously.
people that have watched, like not watched, but have actually read the source material and really liked it, then I'm sure you're excited for the better,
Yeah.
parts to come ahead. But I don't know
Or
anything about the
or
source
I'm
material.
sorry that one of your passions was fucking ruined by Crunchyroll. However you feel about this.
Yeah, I wonder how people, because I don't think anybody. Let me take that back. I don't know if I've really heard a review or an opinion out of someone who was exceedingly familiar with the source material yet, but I haven't really gone on my way to look,
No, me either.
and I don't think I will.
No,
I'm actually loading up some reviews on Crunchyroll right now.
I think I'm done with this show now. It's been a good run.
I'm actually first thing I see. By the way, those complaining that there's not enough info in the beginning, it's supposed to be like
Yeah, in the beginning, that's
information and
fine.
details are revealed and unlocked as story goes on. Uh-huh.
Yeah, not in this show though, unfortunately.
Oh my god, yeah, the first just oh my god, just pages and pages of 5-star reviews. We're in the minority.
Well, bring it on, fuckers.
Debate me.
Yeah. All right.
This saved me from an anime hiatus.
Oh boy.
The name the name of
Have
this
mercy.
review. This review is YEEEEE, just YEEEEE.
Yeah, honestly, that's title this video that YEEEEE, just YEEEEE,
That's
and a
gonna be
picture
the
of
fucking
Bam.
description.
Yeah, YEEEEE, just YEEEEE. Oh my
Amazing. Make a
god.
season 2. Here's the body of the comment, the review. Make a season 2, make a season 2, make a season 2, make a season 2, it just goes on and on.
And I guess I understand that tiny plum brain logic is because they wanted season 2 to answer some of their fucking questions.
No, that's not the reason why. Tower of God is an immortal adventure.
No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. It's
the best
YEEE, just
cliffhangers
YEEE.
of a long time.
Woo!
Oh, what? Oh no, we gotta stop this.
Yeah.
We gotta stop this before I lose my goddamn mind. All right, who are you?
I'm the 25th PhookiNada Riley.
We didn't mention that.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not.
The 25th bomb. What the fuck does that mean? All right, that's PhookiNada Riley. I'm PhookiNada Blair. Thank you for not getting this far, because I know you didn't. Don't
My
even
dick
fucking
is in my hand.
don't even fucking lie to me. I know you did not sit through this in all of this bullshit, and if you did, I'll give you $1. I will give you I will Venmo you $1 on God, hand to God right now. If you made it all the way through this video, I will pay you $1.
I'll double it, make it 150.
150. All right, 150 from PhookiNada if you sat through all of this bullshit. Damn, my outro doesn't work here. It's not a Monster Hunter video.
Fuck all of you. Fuck anime.
Anime is for weeb.
Anime is for weeb. Go fuck yourself.
But if anybody wants a suggestion for a pretty decent anime that I watched recently, if you like romance anime, Plastic Memories is pretty good. Although it's pretty old by now. I only just watched it. If you're wondering how good fucking hold on a second. Let me say this real quick. What's the name of it? If you're wondering how good My Next Life is a Lead to Doom is, it was mediocre at best. You'll have fun watching it once, but you won't really like it too much by the end. And that's about it. Anyway.
I'll recommend season 8 of Impractical Jokers. It was thoroughly entertaining.
My favorite anime of all time.
Absolutely.
All right. How
Good
do
night,
I end
ladies
this?
and gentlemen.
Oh, I need to tell Craig to leave.
No.
Goodbye, Craig.
No. Greg.